A girl is fired for helping Johnny Depp. The next day, he shares news that changes both their lives. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers. It all began on a chilly January morning in 2023. Anna Myers, a 28-year-old waitress at a quiet diner in Los Angeles, was unexpectedly fired for what seemed like a simple act of kindness. The reason? She had gone out of her way to help a customer, a man she didn't recognize at first, until the world-famous actor Johnny Depp removed his signature fedora and gave her a humble, grateful smile. Anna hadn't thought much of it. Johnny had stopped by the diner late one evening, looking exhausted and carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. As she was wrapping up her shift, she noticed his wallet had fallen beneath his booth. Without hesitation, she grabbed it and jogged out into the brisk night to catch him before he drove off. "Sir, you forgot this," she called out, catching him just as he was unlocking the door of a vintage car. Johnny turned, startled, and for a moment Anna saw a flicker of relief, gratitude, and something deeper in his eyes. "Thank you," he murmured. He hesitated before adding, "You didn't even look inside, did you?" Anna shook her head, a little confused. "Why would I?" she replied with a laugh. But when her manager found out the next morning, everything changed. "You left the diner during your shift for some random customer?" her manager barked, not giving her a chance to explain. "We can't have that kind of carelessness here, Anna. I'm sorry, but you're fired." Shocked and devastated, Anna tried to plead her case, but her words fell on deaf ears. With tears streaming down her face, she packed her things and left the diner, clutching the small box that held her belongings. The next day, as Anna sat in her tiny apartment, wondering how she'd pay rent, the news broke. Johnny Depp had announced something that would not only shake his own world, but also touch Anna's life in a way she never imagined. It wasn't about a new movie or a scandal. It was a heartfelt story about an act of kindness that had reminded him of the goodness in humanity. "Someone out there treated me like a human being, not a celebrity, when I needed it most," Johnny said in a candid interview. Anna stared at the television, her breath catching in her throat. He was talking about her. But what he revealed next left her frozen in place, tears streaming down her cheeks. "That night," Johnny continued, his voice steady but tinged with vulnerability, "I had just come from visiting someone I care about deeply, someone who's no longer here. I wasn't sure I could keep it together. And then, this stranger, this woman, went out of her way to help me. Not because I'm anyone special, just because she cared. In that moment, she reminded me that even when life feels unbearable, kindness can pull us back." Anna sat back on her worn-out couch, tears silently streaming down her face. For a fleeting moment, she felt like the universe had nudged her towards something she couldn't yet see. But as the story unfolded, the weight of her own troubles began to press down on her again. She was still jobless, still unsure of how she'd make ends meet. Then came the twist that took her breath away. "I've been looking for her," Johnny said, glancing at the camera with a determined gaze. "I don't know her name, but if she's out there, I just want to say thank you. And if there's any way I can repay her kindness, I'll do whatever it takes." Anna's phone buzzed. It was a text from her friend Lydia. "Anna, isn't this about you? You're all over the news." The realization hit her like a tidal wave. The small act of kindness she'd thought nothing of had spiraled into something far bigger than she could have imagined. But with that realization came fear. Johnny Depp was looking for her. What would she even say to him if he found her? The next morning, Anna stepped out into the frosty Los Angeles air, bundled in her thrift store coat. She needed to clear her head. But as she walked down the street, lost in thought, she failed to notice the vintage car that had just parked at the curb. "Excuse me," came a familiar, gentle voice. She froze. Turning slowly, Anna came face to face with Johnny Depp. "It's you," he said, his voice almost a whisper. Anna's breath caught in her throat. She opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. Johnny gave her a small smile, one filled with the same kindness she'd shown him that night. "I've been looking for you." Just like that, the moment shifted. It wasn't about fame or charity. It was two strangers standing in the cold, bound by a fleeting connection that neither of them fully understood, but both felt deeply. Anna finally found her voice. I didn't think you'd remember me. How could I forget? Johnny replied, his tone heavy with sincerity. You reminded me of something I thought I'd lost. And now, he hesitated, as though unsure of how much to share. Now I'd like to return the favor. But before Anna could respond, her phone buzzed again, this time with a notification from her landlord. The rent was overdue, and the eviction notice was coming next. Panic began to set in, but she masked it quickly, not wanting to let Johnny see. What she didn't realize was that he'd already noticed. Are you okay? He asked gently, concern flickering in his eyes. Anna forced a smile, but tears were already welling up. I'm fine, she lied. That's when Johnny did something that left her completely speechless. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Take this, he said, handing it to her. Anna slowly unfolded it to find a check for an amount that left her stunned. I can't accept this, she whispered. It's too much. Johnny shook his head. It's not about the money, Anna. It's about what you did for me. You gave me something I hadn't felt in years, hope. This is my way of saying thank you. Anna stared at him, torn between gratitude and guilt. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Johnny replied. Just promise me one thing. Don't let the world take your kindness away. It's rare, and it's powerful. For the first time in days, Anna felt a flicker of hope, but Johnny's expression grew somber. There's something else, he said quietly. That night, I'd just come from the hospital. My daughter, she's been going through a tough time. I didn't know if I could keep it together. You didn't just return my wallet. You reminded me that even in the darkest moments, there's still light. Anna's tears flowed freely as she realized the depth of his words. This wasn't about charity. It was about two people who had unknowingly saved each other. As Johnny's phone buzzed, he reluctantly said, I have to go. But this isn't the end, Anna. I promise. He squeezed her shoulder and left, leaving Anna standing there, clutching the check, her heart full of gratitude and confusion. The next day, Anna went to the hospital. A nurse recognized her and led her to Johnny's daughter's room. Johnny looked up in surprise as Anna entered. I hope I'm not interrupting, she said softly. Is this her? His daughter asked, smiling warmly. Johnny nodded. Yeah, this is her. Anna spent the next hour with them, learning about Johnny's daughter and her struggles. As she prepared to leave, Johnny walked her to the hallway. Anna, he said softly, I don't think you realize how much you've changed my life. You've changed mine too, she whispered. Johnny hesitated. I don't want this to be the last time we see each other. Anna's breath caught. It doesn't have to be. As Johnny's phone buzzed again, he turned back to her. This isn't goodbye, he said firmly. Anna stood there, her heart full of hope, as the door closed behind him.